Hey y'all, it's Megan. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. I really created this platform because I was motivated to share with people things that I wish I knew before. So I want to be a resource to other people so that they can feel encouraged. And if you like my content, leave a comment, leave a suggestion for videos you want to see in the future. Like this video, share this video, or subscribe. So this video is about being singleness, how to navigate singleness. So I actually just recorded this video and it was like an hour's worth of footage. But I feel like, nobody's gonna feel like watching that. And like 85% of it was just me ranting and rambling. So I just wanted to make a condensed version with my most important thoughts. I kind of know where this video, like what direction this video is going to go and what I want to say. And this is really important to me because I myself am chronically single, intensely alone. So yeah. I really hope that this is helpful to somebody out there. I want to talk about just being single in general, whether you're someone who has never been in a relationship and you're just wondering when it's going to be your turn, or maybe you just got out of a relationship and you have re-entered singleness against your will. So yeah. I'm going to start off by talking about my story, like my dating history. Just going to put myself on blast. So I did not have a boyfriend until I was 18 years old. I did not get into a relationship until college. So whenever I was younger, like junior high, high school, I never had a crush on anybody. No one ever had a crush on me. And I just watched all my other friends like have crushes and have boyfriends and go on dates and stuff like that. And I have always been a hopeless romantic. I am a lover girl. I have always dreamed about finding love and I just wanted a boyfriend so bad. So for the longest time, like I just was the single friend, didn't know what it was like to even have somebody like me. Then whenever I finally got to college and got a boyfriend, I was elated. I was just happy to be in a relationship, and I was just winging it. Didn't know what was going on. Didn't know what to do. I was just happy, to have a boyfriend. I've had 2 serious relationships in my life. They both were in college, but one of them, like we had ended up breaking up and then we got back together after college. But yeah, it was in my college years, like early 20s, that I got like the first experience in dating. And like I said, I was a single friend for a long time. Like I have definitely experienced what it's like having a boyfriend, being in a relationship, stuff like that. But I also know what it's like to be the single friend, to be the third wheel, to be the person that just watches everyone else get in relationships. And that's hard. Like, can we just be real for a second? I'm so tired of watching people who are in happy relationships trying to give encouragement to single people. It's like, you're not even in the club. Like, why are you trying to act like you identify with me? Like, you sound so out of touch. Like, people, why is it? And I get it. Like, it's like they used to be single, so they get it. Like, I get it. I see you, girl. Like, but you don't see me, okay? You're literally married. Why are you trying to act like you relate to me? But yeah, I was the single friend for a long time. I'm currently the single friend. I experienced what it was like having a boyfriend. And it wasn't all it's cracked up to be. Because, I was in relationships with good people. Like, we just, weren't meant to be together. And let me just say one thing. Going through breakups is excruciating. It is very intense and miserable. And it seems like it goes on for a long time. Whenever you're getting out of a new relationship, like whenever you're getting out of a long-term relationship and you're newly single, it's just like, you're forced into this phase of life that you weren't prepared for. And yeah, it's like you have to go back to the drawing board. Like, and it's like, oh my gosh, I do not want to start over again. Like, I really don't want to go through this again. Like, I don't even want to be with anybody else. Like I get it. I went through that. But whenever it comes to like being in relationships, if you do not approach it with a proper attitude, there's nothing that you can do that's going to sustain the relationship. And what I mean by that is if you idolize relationship and if you idolize the person that you're in a relationship with, it's not going to work, like, for a multitude of reasons. I, for one, am like a people pleaser. And when you're a people pleaser and you just go out of your way to convenience other people because you don't want anyone to be upset and, you know, you don't want any conflict, that trait is heightened when you're in a relationship. So whenever you're in a relationship with someone, you are hyper focused on pleasing that person. You want to do everything you can to please them and stuff like that. And like, that's not going to sustain a relationship. It's not. Obviously you want to make your partner happy. Obviously you want to please them and do what you can to make them happy. But you know, if it's not reciprocated, if that is not like an even dynamic, like, it's not going to, that's just extremely unhealthy. It's extremely unhealthy. And I feel like I kind of went through that whenever I was in relationships. Like, I was just so happy to have a boyfriend that I was just doing whatever I thought I needed to do to sustain the relationship. You know, I was just saying whatever I thought I needed to say to sustain the relationship. It's like, even after getting into the relationship, it's like I was still trying very hard to get that person to like me. Like, you're already dating, like, they're already your boyfriend, like, they're already your girlfriend. Like, why are you trying so hard to keep them and you already have them? Like, it's just this people pleasing mentality that a lot of hopeless romantic people have, that it's like you're so happy that you have this relationship that you constantly have to perform and like meet standards. That brings me to my next point. It's really important that you know yourself before you get into a relationship. So that may be why you are going through a season of singleness. Like, there's probably things that you have to learn about life and about yourself before you get into a relationship. I can say with all honesty, the times that I was in relationships, you know, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted out of life. I didn't know what I truly was looking for in a relationship. So that's just not a good place to be in. Like, you do not want to be in a relationship and still figuring yourself out. Like, it's true that no matter how old we are, we're still learning. Like, we're always going to be growing. But whenever you're very young and very inexperienced, you know, you really just are not in a place to sustain a healthy relationship. That is something that I learned the hard way, because whenever I was in relationships, the way that I handled things was pretty immature. So I can acknowledge the fact that being single right now is beneficial to me, because I'm learning how to communicate with people. I'm learning how to have mature relationships. I'm learning how to have patience. I'm learning how to love in a selfless way. And these are all qualities that are important going into a relationship, you know? It's important to enjoy your own company also. Like, I get that being alone is like boring and unstimulating and sad and like all of these negative adjectives. But just straight up, if you don't enjoy your own company, you are not going to be good company for someone else. Like, stop thinking that being in a relationship is going to solve anything at all. Like, if you don't like yourself and if you don't like your own company and you can't stand being alone, like, you're not going to make a good partner. Like, you're not. And I can't really explain why that is. like if you can't be alone, then you're going to go to great lengths to not be alone. You're going to just tolerate anything because you're just so desperate to get attention, and you're so desperate to feel wanted, and you're so desperate to be in the company of someone else that, you're going to lower your standards. You're going to overexert yourself. Like that's where the people pleasing comes in. But yeah, you hear people say all the time, like, I'm just focusing on myself. Like, I'm just focusing on myself. Like, that's a good thing. Like, you need to focus on yourself, and you have to be aware of what that actually means. So, focus on your finances, exercise your mind, body, and soul. The relationships that you have with your family and friends. Get your schedule right, get yourself a nice healthy routine. Whenever I got out of my last relationship, it was like devastating, and I had no idea where my life was going to take me. Like it felt very unfair, having to just start all over again. And whenever you get out of a relationship, it's just really crazy how someone can be one of the most important people in your life and now they're a stranger. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It's just unfair. And it hurts really bad because whenever you're in a long-term relationship, whenever you're in a serious relationship, whenever you're in love with somebody and then you're no longer together, it's such a strange adjustment because this relationship is like a big aspect of your life that's just a part of your normal routine. Talking to them all day, saying goodnight before bed, filling them in on every tiny detail in your life, making memories together. Their friends are your friends are their friends. So when you're in the middle of being in love and then you're just spit out into the real world, like it's just ripped away from you, you don't really know where to start. Like, you don't know where to start. Like what? It's just like, what is going on? Like, you're just blindsided sometimes. Some relationships, you can see the signs, but in some relationships, you are straight up blindsided. But they're both equally like painful circumstances. So it's like, where do I go from here? And of course, you may have your inner circle, you have family and friends to talk to, but it's not the same thing as being in a relationship, because that person is like your person and the connection that you have with them is unique. When you're in a relationship, the connection that's there is its own unique experience. So talking to your friends and your family is not going to give you the same thing as talking to like your lover. It is different. So, when you get out of a relationship and you don't have that anymore, you don't know what's going on. Like, you don't know what to do. But whenever I got out of my last relationship, I was stuck in this phase of not knowing what to do. But then things like started happening for my life. Like, I got a new job, I got my own place, I started nursing school. Like, I had all of these things going for me. So whereas part of me was pretty depressed because, I had just gone through a breakup, like the rest of me was just able to focus on myself. And I realized, the importance of that statement, like just focus on yourself. Like, I had way too much going on for my life to be sad over some guy. Cause yeah, he, like, at the end of the day, he's just some guy. Like, if you're going through a breakup and you think it's bad, like, just remind yourself, like, he's just some guy. And you might be thinking, he's not just some guy. Like, yeah, he is. Like, I have bad news for you. Like, he's just some guy. I don't care how long your history is. I don't care how meaningful the memories were. I don't care who met whose family. Like, he's just some guy. And the thing that we're attached to is the happily ever after. That guy was just a placeholder. It's like we're picturing our wedding, we're picturing our family, and the person that we're in the relationship with at the time is just the placeholder in that fantasy. Like, the fantasy always stays the same, but the person in that place changes. Like, in all the relationships that I've been involved in, like, as I was talking to that person or as I was in a relationship with that person, they were the new placeholder. But like every time they just got replaced with the next guy. And like right now, the guy is faceless because, like I said, I'm single right now, chronically. But yeah, the fantasy is still there. Like my dream of wanting to get married and have kids stays constant. But who I get married to, that is its own like answer, So you might be going through a breakup, and I know that it feels intense, and I know that it is like you just have to do something about it. Like you have to do something to change your circumstances. Like you want to get them back or something, or like you're thinking about what you could have done differently in the relationship, and you just really don't want to be single. Like you just hate being single. Like I get it. But yeah, just a reminder, like he's just some guy. Like genuinely, like he's just some guy. So yeah. Also, whenever I went through my breakup, it was Valentine's Day. This was like right after my breakup. And I went to one of those parking lot carnivals, like one of those like raggedy carnivals that they pack up into a suitcase and load onto a truck. Like I was in a parking lot carnival. I went there by myself. I was surrounded by all these couples on Valentine's Day. And I was just like riding rides and like eating candy. And it was honestly one of the best days of my life. Like that was the first time that I did an activity by myself in a long time. That was the first time that I was intentionally trying to enjoy my own company, and it put things into perspective for me. Like you don't have to wait on somebody else to be happy. You don't have to wait on somebody else to feel full. You don't have to wait on somebody else to have fun. So whether it's like picking up a new hobby, doing something you enjoy, like going out to eat, like you can do things by yourself. Like get comfortable with doing things by yourself. Do the things that you enjoy. Whenever I was going through that breakup, that was something that really helped me. Like different strategies for getting over a breakup is simply just distracting yourself. Like the things that you like to do, the shows that you like to watch, the people that you like to be around, like hang out with friends and laugh with people, like hang out with your family, do things to distract yourself. Because yeah, it's good to be alone, but whenever you are in a vulnerable emotional state like that, like being alone with your thoughts can get pretty dark. So, enjoying the company of other people is really helpful, just distractions and stuff like that. But there's also a way to just learn how to enjoy your own company. And that was something that I like finally learned how to do after my last relationship, because I got used to being around this person every day. And when that's the case, it's easy for you to kind of lose your identity. It's like your personality just gets absorbed into this relationship, and you're not able to think of yourself as an individual anymore. Like you're thinking about them constantly, like what you need to do for them, how you need to communicate with them, like all these plans in your life that you have to adjust to accommodate the relationship. Like you're constantly thinking about them. So it's like whenever you are single again, it's like you have to, like the only person that you have to think about is yourself. Like that is the perfect opportunity to focus on yourself. And I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. Like I said, I'm a hopeless romantic. I am a lover girl. I have always wanted to just fall in love. Like I've always wanted to get married and have kids. And it's really difficult when you're in your 20s and you're watching people that get married. It's like day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, another engagement, another wedding, another family photo, another pregnancy announcement, and it's like the entire time you're single, the entire time. And it's crazy because it's not like the dreams that you have are unrealistic, because it's happening, just not for you. So it's not like it didn't happen to me because it's just not real. Like it's real. It happens. It just hasn't happened to me. So it's very unfair. Like it's an unfair feeling because it's like, okay, they wanted it and they got it. I wanted it and I don't got it. So it's like, what's wrong with me? When is it my turn? When is it going to happen for me? Like, why is it that these other people get exactly what I want? I mean, like, honestly, a silver platter. Like, I always wanted to get married, like maybe like 22, 23, have kids at 25. I'm almost 27 years old now, and that hasn't happened yet. So it's like, obviously that wasn't supposed to happen, but like, I watch people get married 22, 23, have kids at 25, like do exactly what I wanted to do on the timeline that I wanted to do it. And it's like, okay, so why is it happening for them and not for me? Like, what is going on? But in the process of grieving the things that you wished for but never happened, you have to learn to acknowledge the opportunities that are still being presented to you. So yeah, it really sucks that, I'm not in a relationship right now, and I'm not married yet, and I don't have kids yet. That really sucks. I don't like that. But at the same time, I just couldn't do what I'm doing now had I already had kids. Like, I am in nursing school full time. I work full time plus overtime. Like, I have all these bills. I have all these things that I need to put into place for my life plans. Like, I just would not have the capacity to take care of anybody else but me. So I'm grateful that I have the privilege of being selfish during this season of my life, because if I already had kids, like, none of what I'm trying to do right now would be possible. Like, yeah, it would be nice to have babies, but like, to be real, like, kids would have actually ruined my life. Like, I mean, like, it would have been cool, but like, real life, I just, first of all, would not have the patience for it. Also, like, I don't know how people with my job support their families on this salary. Like, I'm broke. So I don't know how people do it with like children, but like, it couldn't be me. So, that's like a upside. So it's like, there's pros and cons to both. Like, obviously, if you are one of those people who got married and had kids young, like, it has its own blessings. But if you're one of those people who is still single, like, that also has its own blessings. And whenever I talk to people, it's really funny, because whenever I talk to people who are married and have kids, like, they have what I want. And they know that I'm like in my 20s and I'm still single, and they actually envy me. It's just really crazy, because it's like, I want what they have, but they envy me. They're like, oh my gosh, like, I wish I was still single. Like, oh my gosh, like, you're so young, like, you have your life ahead of you. Like, oh my gosh, you have your own place. Like, you don't have to spend your money on all these kids, like, all this stuff. Like, it's just really weird. We always want what we can't have, and we have the things that we don't want. So, life is just funny that way. And that has also helped me put things in perspective, because as much as I can focus on the negative aspects of being single, there is this comfort in knowing that one day I will have the things that I want. I will have a husband, and I will have children, and I will wish I was single again. Like, people who have families, like, they're very blessed, but there are times where they just like want some time to themselves. Like, they never get alone time. They never have free time. Like, they never have time to like think straight, because they're constantly focused on their family. And that's a good problem to have, honestly. Like, I can't wait until that's my reality. Like, I've always wanted a family. But I can also respect the fact that, yeah, like, it's really nice that I don't have to worry about children, like, constantly needing my attention. I don't have to worry about a husband, to please, and a house to take care of. Like, I'm just like doing me. Like, I'm just living my best life, and all the money that I have, like, all the things that I pay for is just for my life. So that's really, really good. So if you just continue to repeat those things to yourself and remind yourself of like the good aspects of being single, you'll be more comfortable with your circumstance. Also, you have to learn how to be alone without feeling lonely. So my truth, I have really been focusing on strengthening my relationship with God, and just knowing how much Jesus loves me, and just knowing that God is not only watching me, but he's like with me, and he is always experiencing things with me. It helps with the loneliness, and also being able to appreciate the people in my circle, like people in my life that always try to encourage me and support me no matter what. That's very fulfilling. And, it's not like you have to wait to be in a relationship to be happy. It's not like you have to wait to be in a relationship to have fun. Like, if you are just waiting for this relationship to happen and it's the most important thing to you to like be in a relationship and finally have a boyfriend or finally have a girlfriend, like, then you're operating under the assumption that your happiness is going to come from some outside source. Like, if you're not happy on your own, you're not going to have a relationship that can be sustained. So whether you are chronically single like myself, or you are just getting out of a relationship, or maybe you're like divorced, and you just don't like being single and you don't want to be single anymore, just remind yourself that the most important thing that you can do right now is learn how to be happy on your own. Once you have your own happiness and once you know yourself, you're going to be in a great position to be in a relationship. Like, it's hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and give some out of touch advice and be like, oh, like, it's not that bad, you're still young, blah blah blah, because like I know that I'm young in comparison to someone who's like 112. But women have a biological clock. So as far as my childbearing years, if getting married and having kids is something that I plan on doing, like, it has to happen relatively soon. So I feel like if you're upset with being single, you're justified in feeling upset. Like, you're allowed to hate singleness. Like, you're allowed to feel lonely. You're allowed to feel like, being single and watching all your friends being in love is like getting old, okay? That's real, that's valid. But you can shift your perspective in a realistic way. I definitely have my good days and my bad days. Like, some days I feel very independent and I feel very privileged to be single, but there are some days where I just feel lonely and I just want so badly to have someone to share my thoughts with. And like I said, like, being in a relationship is its own unique experience. So like, talking to my close friends and talking to my family doesn't feel the same as being in a relationship with someone who's in love with you and sharing those thoughts with them. So that's valid if you want that, but don't feel like you're missing out on stuff. Like, just think about the stuff that you have, like I said, like, just think about the things that you have the privilege of doing that you probably wouldn't be able to do if you were in a relationship or had kids or something like that. Like, I like to think of my life as like a modern day Carrie Bradshaw. Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City. She had her own apartment in New York. She was single. She was in her 20s and 30s, just like living life, going on dates when she felt like it, drinking cocktails with the girls when she felt like it. Her apartment was just like so cute and distinct to her personality. And that is my life. Like, that is me. Like, I can hang out with my friends and I can just cuddle up on my couch and I just spend time with my rabbit, and I'm just like, I can go out on a night on the town that never happens because, like I said, I'm a full-time nursing student. I actually don't have a life, but it's like, still, I have that's still like mine. And I would love to be able to look back on my life and think of the era of my life whenever I was like single, had my own place, had my own car, like, and my life was all mine. So although I'm yearning for that future whenever I finally find love, I know that one day when that is my reality, I will be missing the life that I currently have. So I don't want to wait until it's too late to cherish this season of life that I'm in. I'm trying my best to be present and be aware of the things that I'm learning and the things that I need to know about this season of life right now that I'm going to carry into the next season. Like, this phase of my life, it has its challenges, but no matter how difficult it is, I know that it's valuable for some reason. So I'm trying to take hold of the lessons that life is teaching me through this season of singleness right now. One more thing, this really, really motivated me. So I was talking to my mom about being single and how I'm just tired of being single. Like, I just want love and I'm tired of seeing everybody else fall in love and I'm just alone. And one thing about me, my parents have been divorced since I was a baby. And my mom was telling me what life was like after she got divorced. She was like, okay, I know that it's really hard being single right now, but like, do you think that I wanted to get divorced? And do you think that I wanted to re-enter the dating scene in my 30s with kids and just like literally have to start all over? And she was talking about how she was single for 13 years before she got remarried. And that gave me a lot of perspective, because singleness looks different for everybody. Like, whether you are just getting out of a long-term relationship and you really want that person back, but you probably shouldn't, and whether you are chronically single and you've never been in a relationship and you just watch everyone else fall in love, or whether you are getting divorced. Like, singleness looks different for everyone else, but there's value life experiences that come from that. And it's painful. Like, you're allowed to feel hurt from that. You're allowed to feel lonely from time to time. Like, it's totally valid. Don't let someone like diminish and undermine your feelings by saying, oh, you're young. Like, oh, it happens to everyone. Oh, your time will come. Like, no, like, it's okay. Acknowledge the fact that singleness sucks. Okay. Acknowledge the fact that it's lonely and loneliness is not good. Acknowledge the fact that being in a relationship is fun. Okay. And I'm allowed to want being in a relationship. Like, that's reality. Okay. If that's what you want, that's what you want. But there's definitely ways to, like I said, shift your perspective. Whenever my mom told me that, I was just thinking about how lonely she must have felt for over a decade, and obviously she wasn't literally alone because she had her kids, of course. But like I said, being in a relationship is just like different. And having someone to support you and feel loved in this very special way, and just, not having that, it can be pretty painful. And I had just never thought about it that way. And it made my season of singleness, which is honestly so short. Like, I've been single for 2 years. Like, it just is such a small amount of time, but the days feel so long. Yeah, that was really helpful to me. So, just think about things like that. Look at the people around you who are also single. And the benefits that they have in their life. Don't just look at the people that are married and wish to be like them, or look at the people who are in long-term relationships and they seem so madly in love and how much you just want that so badly. Like, it's okay to want that, but you can also focus on the benefits. Plus, like, if you have not been in a relationship, I'm just letting you know now, there are things that you have never considered, that you will understand you do not want in a relationship. And you're not gonna realize that until you're in the relationship. There was stuff that never crossed my mind, but after being in a relationship and the relationship ending, I realized what I do not want in a relationship. There's just some stuff you simply do not think about until you're in a relationship. Like, we're so overhyped on the perks, like holding hands, kissing, taking cute selfies together, making memories, like all this cute stuff in relationships. Like, we just want somebody so bad, and we just want to feel wanted so bad that we don't think about real life. And I'm just letting you know now, like, if you are a chronic single person or you've never been in a relationship and you want it so bad, just be aware there is stuff that you are not thinking about, that you are not going to, like, you're just gonna have like a reality check when you're in a relationship. Like, I'm just letting you know now. And I can't even give you examples because it's specific to your life. Like, it's just, it varies from person to person. Like, I mean, not only do you need to focus on the things that you look for in relationship and like the list of qualities that you want in a partner, you also have to think about things that you don't want. And for myself personally, whenever I finally got a boyfriend, like, I didn't realize what I didn't want until I was in a relationship. Like, you just are so focused on what you want and what you like that you don't even think about what you don't want and what you don't like. So then you find someone who seems like the perfect person, and it's not until the relationship is over and like the time has passed that you're like, actually, I don't want this. So yeah, I think that this is very, very helpful stuff. yeah, I think that this is very helpful stuff. And I hope that you feel encouraged, because you're not alone. You know, I don't just want to give tips on being single from an outside source. I just want to give you tips from firsthand experience because I am chronically single. And like I said, I'm a hopeless romantic. Like, I just want to be in love so bad. And, you know, it's just not happening right now. But you can still find the positives. And there's something very important about this phase of life that you're in. There's a reason for it. You can find use for everything that happens to you in your life. So, with that being said, exercise your mind, body, and soul so you can be stronger.